This is the Classic Auto Mall Show. Broadcast from the studios inside the Classic Auto Mall in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. Just 1 hour west of Philadelphia at Pennsylvania Turnpike exit 298. Featuring nearly 1,000 classic, vintage, and barn-find vehicles for sale under one climate-controlled roof. Now, here's your host, Classic Auto Mall president and the man with all the toys, Stuart Howden.
Here we are, show number 208. It's just hard to believe. We're slowly inching toward, we'll be 300 by what, 2 years from now?
Something like that. Next week is begins our fifth season.
Wow.
September.
Well, I guess that's right, because if you do the math.
Yeah. And I got a C- in math.
Pretty good. Glad to hear it. So before we get to our two wonderful guests joining us here live in the studio, we're going to decide how many cars we have in inventory right this very moment. JR, go.
Speaking of math, 988.
Yeah, that's weird.
We'll go 940.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. We hit it right on the nose.
Oh, hey.
That's never happened. 940 cars is what we have in inventory right now. I have no idea what you're going to get for it, but I'm going to give you something cool. Because nobody's ever guessed. Y'all are always so far off, it's not even.
Yeah.
So just got back from Monterey. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But joining us in the studio this morning is Mike Tillson and Tobey Ross, both what do we call it? Executives of the Radnor Hunt Concours d'Elegance.
Co-chairs.
And co-chairs. Yeah, I like co-chairs. Sounds better. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Great to be here.
It's coming. It's here.
It's scary.
Next week.
You know, it's funny how we have a once a month meeting. And I'm on the board as well, too, full disclosure. And we have this meeting, and it's like, oh, my God, it's forever. You know, this is so far off. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, wait a minute. It's not this weekend, but next weekend.
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner. This is the, what
28th.
28th. Did you really, I mean, when you started it, did you think, I'm going to do this for 4 or 5 years, and then that'll be it, or what?
I thought it was going to be a small annual garden party.
Right.
30 or 40 cars from close friends, and I was on the planning commission for the Radnor Hunt Club.
Right.
And after we had the first event, they said, "Can you make it bigger?" I said, "Well, I guess." And,
if I have to.
And here we are.
The first event was like all of us bringing our own cars.
Right.
We had maybe 25 cars or something. And
I always describe it as it was my dream and everybody else's nightmare.
Well, because you know what? It's a lot of commitment to put on a show, but it's also a lot of commitment to bring your car to a concours.
Sure.
You've got to get it prepared properly. You got to get it there. You got to make sure it's nice and clean. You got to make sure it does all the things it's supposed to do. It's a lot of pressure. I mean, you see people nervous about it because they want it to be right, and they should be. I mean, that's what it's about. It's celebrating elegance, right?
it's a competition.
Right, yeah.
It's like many other things, and the entrants take it very, very seriously.
They want to win.
A lot of work for them to come, which is why the entrants are really the honored guests of the event.
Sure. And we do have honored guests, obviously, that we have. And as you said, all of the participants are honored guests, but we have some kind of legendary known people in the hobby. David Hobbs is one of our featured guests this year, he's a character. He was on the show. He's amazing, and his talent was off the charts. I mean, those guys were in a different realm of driving, as we were talking about earlier.
Right.
You know, and then Erik Buell, who we had on the show just recently, is our motorcycle guest, and he's had quite a career. Now he's doing music stuff. So
yeah,
but it's interesting that a guy can just start a company, a motorcycle company. I mean, you think, how
would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, you got Harley-Davidson, you got Suzuki, you got Yamaha, you got Honda, you got all these companies, and I'm just going to start my own company. And he did really well. It wasn't like he was a slouch and sold one or two bikes a year. He was selling quite a few, and he had a good in with Harley-Davidson, which didn't hurt. So let's go through, Tobey, some of the featured marks this year coming up.
Sure. We're featuring Mercedes-Benz.
Right.
We're featuring AACA cars and station wagons, panel vans, and shooting brakes.
Right.
And then we decided to feature moons.
Right. Why not? Because everybody's heard of them.
Everybody's heard of moons, right?
Duh.
Yeah, no. But it is a great story, and it actually has emerged to be probably the best feature of the year,
right,
because of the way this has developed over the last 6 months. The story started years ago when Mike Tillson inherited a shaving mug from his grandfather. It was, I think, the only thing you inherited from your grandfather with a picture of a car on it.
Duh. That didn't start you out on the wrong foot. Right.
Many years ago, he determined that car was, in fact, a Moon.
Didn't know it for a long time?
He told me it was a Moon.
Oh, gotcha.
He told me it was his favorite car.
Right.
He loved his Moon.
Right.
And I happened to be I was a chief judge at the Concours in Chattanooga.
Right.
And I was checking the field, and I saw a Moon. It was the first time I ever saw one in the flesh.
Right.
And I introduced myself to the owner, and I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Gary Moon."
Well,
I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, I'm related." I said, "How would you be interested in helping put together a class of Moon cars for the next Radnor Hunt Concours?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll work on that." And his partner, the head of the Moon Club, they put together a class of Moons, and we have every model coming.
Wow. How many total cars?
We have 9 Moons coming.
And we thought when we started this, we would maybe get 2 or 3, maybe 4. 4 would be awesome. We would really knock the cover.
And they're coming from all over the country, from Missouri, Texas. And
wow.
Yeah, Florida, Georgia, Virginia, Missouri, Iowa, Indiana, and Texas.
This is probably a big deal for them, too. It's a big deal for us, but it's a big deal for them.
It's a very big deal for them. Jeff Buckley is the president of the Moon Club, and he and Gary were at Amelia Island as well. So
right.
we got to speak to them down there. And they have turned this into a very, very big Moon event.
Sure.
And the Moon Car Company had 3 different brands over the years.
Right.
They moved into the Windsor, and then the Diana, and then the Ruxton.
Oh, really? Everybody knows the Ruxton, yeah.
But Ruxtons were actually part of the Moon Company.
Right.
And according to Jeff, we don't think there's ever been one of each of the 4 brands together at the same time because they weren't manufactured at the same time.
Right.
They were manufactured in series. So we have all 4 coming. We didn't have a Ruxton till the last minute, and our good friend Tom Lee, who is the chairman of the board of the Auburn Car Duesenberg Museum, has made arrangements for us to borrow their Ruxton.
Nice. Were Ruxtons supercharged? Were they?
Yes.
Were they supercharged? Weren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. They were quite powerful cars back in the day, right?
They were.
Yeah.
They were.
Now,
so we're very excited. This Moon feature is going to be great. The Moon Club is coming in force. Some other Moon owners that don't have cars ready to show are coming. A young novelist who has written a book, and it features the main character driving a Moon Diana is coming, so she can actually experience being in and driving the Diana.
Wow.
So all these little peripheral things have come together to make this feature really special for us this year.
Now, will the Moons be judged, or are they just on display?
They will be judged.
They will be judged.
Yes, they will be judged.
Yeah,
And Tom Lee will judge.
Phil
Neff, the chief judge from Greenbrier and Audrain, will be judging, and Tom Lee will also be participating.
And I imagine they're all doing their homework right now because there's a lot to learn about something you haven't, seen before or seen much of. Maybe you'd seen one before at Chattanooga, as you mentioned, Mike, which is a shame that that's no longer an event for at least this year. We hope that it'll come back.
It'll come back next year.
It's a lot of fun. That was a fun event.
Great venue.
Laid back, and some of these things get a little stuffy. I mean, we get it. I mean, Pebble Beach was fun when I was there, but it was unlike any other one I'd been to, and I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way or a good way. It just was a little more formal.
Yes,
and I think that you got to be careful not to take the fun out of things. Mm-hmm. It's still got to be fun.
Well, that's the way I feel when I started the Radnor Hunt Concours. I wanted it to be a garden party and relaxed, and people have a nice time and not be stressed.
Sure. And if you win an award, great. But you can't help the nature of competitiveness with people is that no matter how informal you make it, if they're judging, they want to win.
Yeah, but I tell the judges to tell the owners of the cars that you're already a winner by being here.
That's exactly right, because we don't just accept anything. Right. We don't accept Plymouth Fury Station. Well, maybe we do.
Oh, maybe we'll have one around
we might
somewhere.
Have one somewhere, as long as we can get it back to wherever it belongs.
Now you're going to have to tell that story.
Yes, I know. Sure, let's tell it afterwards.
Okay.
When we know all the full details on it. Tobey and I somehow ended up with a Plymouth Fury station wagon that was really kind of a cool car, and we want to use it because station wagons are one of the featured marks that we have this year. We wanted the station wagon to use as kind of our concourse central area where we can stuff all of our stuff that we need to hand out to people and all that. And this car is really interesting. It's family owned it, drove it. It's all original. It's an AACA winner. It's got a manual transmission, which is bizarre, and it'll be interesting. I think it'll get a lot of attention. I really do. Yeah. I think it's one of those ones, especially on your way home today when you're.
It's going to be fun.
I hope I remember to take my phone off of silent because I know you may need to reach me here shortly.
Right.
So the moons are going to be amazing, and Mercedes-Benz, of course, is always stellar at these Concours d'Elegances. They always are just over the top that you see. A lot of people don't realize the first Mercedes built in the 1800s, and
Great story about that.
Yeah, and they built the replicas that they built back about 20 years ago, and those were hugely popular. Little one-cylinder, belt-driven, just crazy little car. That so it's interesting that you see these replicas, which are, I don't know, it's hard to call them a replica. It's almost like a continuation more than a replica. Whatever, I don't. People think they know what all that means, and it means whatever you want it to mean. I think.
The original real car is in the Deutsches Museum in Munich.
Right.
And it doesn't move.
Right.
Because it's very old and fragile. Of course, 1896, I think.
It was 1896.
But there are about 20 or 30 of the reproduced copies of it. Most of them built by Mercedes-Benz.
Right. Mercedes dealers actually had them in their showrooms for many years.
And they're quite valuable.
They are. They're quite valuable.
Yeah.
I would imagine that it would be interesting to see what the one in the museum is worth if it ever went on the market. Probably wouldn't be millions and millions, but it would be an interesting to see that. It might surprise you.
I think it's a treasure of the country.
Sure. Yeah.
But we have one of the replicas coming.
Awesome.
And there's a great video that you can access on YouTube, and we posted it on our social media, recreating the story of Bertha Benz driving the 1896, I think, car, and setting some records for long distance driving in a car of that age, and the problems that she had. It's a very entertaining little film, and if you're interested, look it up on YouTube or follow it on our social media.
Sure.
But Bertha Benz's family were buying some of the first cars, and that's where the Benz part of the name came from.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and Mercedes-Benz have always been known for quality and for reliability and for hardiness because they were in Germany and it was cold and bad weather and all of that. But some of those, I mean, the pre-war 30 stuff that are just amazing.
And some successful racing cars.
Oh, absolutely. And of course at Pebble Beach this past couple of weeks, they had a Maybach from the 1930s, and it was probably the most elegant car I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh,
it was really gorgeous, black with this Art Deco-y chrome, and you could park it and a Duesenberg next to each other, and you wouldn't even give the Duesenberg a second glance. It was the most beautiful Duesenberg. It was just really one of those cars. It was actually a runner-up to Best in Show. And then of course Best in Show was the tulip wood, which is actually not tulip wood.
No, right. It's
it's one of those things that I had to be careful when I was asking questions about things because I didn't want to say, so actually made from tulip wood, was it? No, it's mahogany.
8,500 brass rivets.
Yeah,
hold the wood together.
It was an unbelievable car. And it's funny, you and I talked like 3 days before it, and you said, the buzz is that's going to be the Best in Show.
Oh,
it was already, it was almost a given. And the guy paid $9 million for it and then restored it.
Yep.
In 2022, I think he bought it at the RM sale.
Yep, I was there actually. Yep.
Yeah, and that was huge at the time.
He said he was going to send it to RM for restoration, and it would be back, and it would win, and it did.
That's like pointing at the the old Babe Ruth thing where he pointed and said, I'm going to win this. I mean, you talk about a difficult, win. Is Best in Show at any Concours d'Elegance is it's because how do you got 20 cars and they're all, or 10 cars or whatever, they're all perfect. How do you differentiate between one and the other? Well, part of it's elegance, right? And I mean, it is elegance in the beauty in the eye of the beholder, right?
In any other day, it could be one of the other cars.
Sure.
It could vary.
Yeah.
I had to do a little research because somebody called me and said that they think that Hispano that won was for sale at the original Kirk White auction in Cabrini College.
Wow.
And I know in my archives I have the catalogs. I have to check.
Yeah.
I have the catalog from the second Kirk White sale that somebody gave me. A guy brought in a stack of stuff, which usually I would just throw on a shelf and say thanks, and we're going to make a library someday. And well, I don't know when someday ever is going to be. But I actually happened to go through this one, and there was one of the Kirk White catalogs, and we had the AC Bristol that sold it, the second one that was here. And the lady who bought it, who bought the Bristol, bought it to drive back and forth to school. And they were going to buy the Goldwing, but it was too expensive because it was $5,000, and the Bristol was $2,500. So they wish they could trade that back in. My craziest moment in Pebble Beach was driving down the street and seeing a Goldwing parked parked on the side of the street, and the next morning it was still there. Sure. I mean, just $1.5 million or two.
Carmel and Car Week.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So back to the featured marks. Another one, AC, which is a favorite of ours because there's so many great AC cars that are out there. The AC Cobra, the AC Bristol, the AACA, and probably the Frua. I think there was.
That was, yeah.
And there were some really interesting AC cars. How many of those do we have coming, Tobey?
Well, we have a full class of about eight or nine cars. We have 4 pre-war ACs, which is exciting. Yes, a great supporter, Doug Stewart from Indiana, is bringing 3 cars for us from his huge AC collection. But we've got a 1910 AC Sociable, a 1913 10 horsepower light car, it's called.
Wow.
And a 1938 16/90 and a 1939 16/80. So
I know nothing of any of those, but it sounds good.
Come to the show and you can learn a whole lot about them.
So in that class, or in the AC mark, can you have an AC Cobra, or does that go outside the realm of it?
I think we can, and we do. We have an AC 289 Cobra.
Oh, gotcha.
427s, not really ACs anymore.
Right.
They were designed and built in California by Shelby.
Yeah, they weren't just taking the chassis from England and bringing it over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
289s were English chassis and then built here. So we do have a 289 Cobra coming, and we have an Ace Bristol Roadster and an Ace engine Roadster.
Right.
And an AACA. So we're covering the full gamut.
And the date's coming up September 5th through the 7th, which is just around the corner. Yeah, hard to believe. We start off with a welcome barbecue at the club, Radnor Hunt Club, on the 5th. And that's always a lot of fun because it's a casual affair that kind of gets the ball rolling in a nice linear way, right?
You meet people and get to know them.
It's amazing the people that you meet at these things too.
All the honored guests will be there.
Yeah, and people don't realize if you live anywhere close to here, and I'm talking about even 500 miles from here. Mm-hmm. This has got to be on your list to come to. It's one of the greatest car shows in this area. It's world class. It's as good as any that you'll see anywhere. And I'm not just saying that.
We get cars that are Pebble Beach quality cars that won't go to Pebble Beach because of the distance.
It's far.
And they're here in our backyard.
Yeah, I think that's
come.
And it's getting more and more that because the cost, even though, it's a lot of wealthy people are on this hobby. Obviously, when you have these cars of this caliber, you've got a little bit of a net worth. But even they are saying, "Hey, I don't want to spend $5,000 to send my car there and $5,000 to send my car back, and then the hotels are expensive, and before you know it, it's become a $25,000 weekend.
Easily, yeah.
And if you're right here on the East Coast and you don't have all that expense and all that." How perfect. Sure. And it's one of the most unique settings in all the concours that happen.
We're not on a golf course. Right. We're not on the ocean. We're in rolling hills of horse country, Chester County.
And speaking of horse country, we celebrate the coaches and carriages.
Yeah, we're the only concours that does that.
Right.
And it's coach work.
Right.
What
started the pre-war type cars, the Rollses and the Rollses. Is that his word? Rollses? I don't think so.
I guess it is now.
Yeah, it is now, and I forever proclaim it to be that. And our good friend, we've got a good friend, Harry Tusey. He's got a great collection of carriages that Tobey and I saw not too long ago. Was he bringing one this year, or did he bring one last year? Right?
He did.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he's participating in the carriage drive that will come and end at our show. But he is a regular at all of the carriage events with his fabulous collection.
Oh, these Belgian carriages are... You see the thrust for what became the car coach builders from that. I mean,
and a lot of those carriage builders went into the car. Durham. I have a Durham Packard, and their original business was building carriages for horse-drawn carriages.
Well, and Studebaker started out as wagons way back in the early 1800s, right? Yeah, it's interesting. The more you delve into this, the more you think you know about this hobby, the less you know.
And I still don't know why it's called a hobby.
Right.
Because it's so much bigger than a hobby.
And I say that just out of habit. We've always just called it a hobby, and it's an industry. It's a
yes. I think a hobby is collecting stamps.
Yeah.
This is
or coins or
Right.
or whatever. These are a little bit different. Although we have a motorcycle class, which is unusual. Not all the
we were the first to do that.
right.
Yeah.
And you know what guys will tell you that collect motorcycles? They say, I like anything motorized, and I realized that I could collect 100 motorcycles in a building the size that I can only put 20 cars. So I can have more and enjoy. And the featured mark for motorcycles this year is, we've got Eurosport, Made in America, and Paddock to Podium. So racing bikes, European bikes, and American bikes. And John,
There's over 40
Wow.
coming this year.
I didn't even
It's
realize
going to be
that.
a huge.
And John knows where all these great bikes are, and some of them are so rare. He did
Yeah.
such a fabulous job.
And you really have to, if you're like me, who never really paid attention to motorcycles other than they were fun when I had dirt bikes when I was a kid, but the road racing bikes and all of that. But some of the design and the intricacy of these bikes are off the charts. I mean, they are just amazing what they did and how they engineered them.
They're beautiful. And we've had some $1 million motorcycles at the show.
People go, that can't possibly be. Yeah, it absolutely can be. And I think that
John Lawless does a terrific job putting our show together.
Great guy and a great curator of the hobby, and a great guy who will just continue to perpetuate and actually contribute to this, because I think what happens at these events when you feature these motorcycles that people have never seen and never heard of, it sparks an interest in some people to say, oh, I want to learn more about that. I'd like to own one of those. I'd like to be in that hobby.
It raises awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what, with our industry, not hobby, that we want to continue to do, because we want to make sure that the kids perpetuate this. We'd like the Radnor Hunt Concours to continue going on in perpetuity, right? We'd like to hand the baton to somebody that at this time is maybe 30 years old or something that wants to move forward. And they're seeing that at all the concours where they're having kids judging and all of that, which I think is important to involve them.
Sure. And we're also bringing more women into the industry hobby, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And then of course we're doing a fashion award, and I think that's great, because nothing better than seeing people in period correct dresses or hats.
That's what the original Concours d'Elegance was about. It was about fashion and
right. To dress elegantly with your elegant car.
We've got some serious fashion judges coming too.
Oh, really?
That,
I've been paying attention, but not enough, apparently.
Leaders in the current fashion industry are going to be wandering our field looking for the best dressed man, the best dressed woman, the best dressed couple, and the best vintage clothing.
So we have to eliminate Mr. Tillson, because he's always best dressed. So that's a given.
I'll dress down.
And you and I, they don't give an award for khaki pants and button-down shirts. But
that's too obvious.
If you took a picture of me and my dad and looked, we would be the exact same dressing. And this was 40 years ago that he had the exact same thing I had on today.
Yeah.
And isn't that amazing, though? It's funny how some things just don't change. And style in automobiles is the same way. I mean, they're timeless. I mean, to see some of the cars that you're going to see at our facility, or at the facility, Radnor Hunt, it's just amazing that these cars survive, because if you look at the parts and all of the things that go into making one of these things, and if you find one that needs restored, where do you even begin? For a moon, where do you find parts for a moon?
Exactly.
You have to make them.
You have to make them.
I've been talking to the Moon Club guys, particularly Jeff Buckley, and he has some great stories about what they're doing to get these cars here. They're sharing parts and making parts and helping each other move things around. And he went and picked up a car and brought it to his place. And,
oh my God!
So we're really grateful.
Well, and we do a Memorial Road Rally on September the 6th, which is Saturday, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And that's the Bill O'Connell Memorial Road Rally. Will any of the moons be in the rally?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Nice.
The oldest moon that's coming is in 1908.
Right.
And the club is very generously trying to build their rally around that car's ability to participate.
Right.
It obviously isn't as fast or as reliable as the others. So we've organized a shorter route for them.
Right. Gotcha.
A little bit more direct from the Radnor Hunt to the finishing location, and they will know where the finishing location is. Where the rest of the rally cars, it's a surprise.
Right, they have to figure it out. They have to find it. They have to follow directions. Go 1.2 miles, turn right.
Yep.
And not where the old man Smith's barn used to be. But
Yeah, well, we
could do that
in there. Yeah, we like that.
We have some great stops too on the.
Fantastic, yeah, and that's always a big. People really enjoy that rally. I mean, you get participants that come back year after year after year to do that because it's a lot of fun. And the roads.
Yeah.
I mean, what Pat Olivetto does in mapping out these roads is it's not easy to do.
We have people like Kip Wasenko is one who lives
Detroit,
yeah.
And when he comes here, he said, "I've never seen countryside like this."
Isn't that amazing?
He said it's absolutely gorgeous.
He's used to grass and steel and concrete and brick, and that's not what we have around here. I mean, if you and the interesting thing about Radnor Hunt is the proximity to Philly.
20 miles.
It's 20 miles away, and you think you're in another world there.
Exactly.
I mean, I feel like I'm in East Tennessee with rolling hills and farms and all of that. And you think, I can't possibly be 20 minutes from downtown Philly, but here you are.
Well, that area is on the tracking to the Philadelphia International Airport, and the pilots know they're on course because they call it the black hole. Because there's wide open spaces and very little light.
Right.
And in the middle of the night, and they hit the black hole, they know they're
close.
They're close.
Wow, that's interesting. I never knew that. So
I mean, there's a lot of large farms and estates in the area that you would never see from the road.
Yeah, you can't see from the road. No. Yeah, that's the interesting thing about these Google Maps, where you can go and look at things and kind of get an idea of what the layout is. Because I know that just driving through there, you'll see a tree-lined fence and an entrance gate, but you can't see anything beyond that. So you don't really know what's back there. And there's some amazing estates that probably have never been on the market and maybe never will be. They just stay within family members. So, and there's a lot of money down there too, obviously. So if you're
old family names.
And heirs and all of that, and so
car people too.
Lots of
the Ford heir and Chrysler.
And then car collectors. Look at all the car collectors that are just in that part of the world. And I would argue that, Classic Auto Mall is one of the sponsors of Radnor Hunt, and we're happy to do it because it's a win-win for us. Yeah. And it's our core audience. And I would say to anybody else listening, if you're in anything classic cars or cars in general of any time, special interest or Ferraris or, anything, this is the place, this is your audience.
Well, there's some serious horse breeding operations there that have been successful around the world. Right. Kentucky Derby and Preakness winning stakes. And that's one of the other interesting things when it's still a fox hunting organization. And when you're fox hunting and hounds get going on a fox, you're going to ride into some incredible estate that you didn't even know was there.
Right. And hopefully the guy's not waiting with a gun. So.
Well, that's happened a few times.
That's happened.
Just once or twice if you go edged a little far onto the maybe the some kind of drug lord maybe living out here.
You never know.
You never know, right? But people don't realize what the car culture is in this part of the world. And I preach this to people that I meet all the time, which maybe I should shut my mouth, because it's like if you tell people what a wonderful place this is to live, all of a sudden everybody's moving there to live, right? But the amount of cars and collections that are within 100 miles of where we sit is staggering. It may be arguably as good as anywhere in the world.
I mean, I keep learning of new collections every year that I didn't know were there.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Eastern Pennsylvania is a center of gravity of the car industry.
Right. And the car and the hobby industry, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. It's amazing that all these people are right here. And it's funny that not everybody always picks up on that they realize that there's so many guys that are into it. And if you just look at the event list of the things that go on around here, from the cars and coffees that we go to and all of that, I mean, they're as big as they get anywhere. Yeah. I mean, the cars and coffee that the local kid puts on,
mainline cars and coffee,
gets 2,000 cars on a Sunday.
Last
Sunday, I think he said he had 2,200.
That's crazy. That's a lot of cars.
Well, the one good thing about the Radnor Hunt Concours is there's something for everybody.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. We've got the new car area. We've got some wonderful
merchandise.
We got merchandise
and something for the ladies. And
the rally on Saturday morning, but simultaneously we have a cars and coffee too.
Absolutely.
Sponsored by
Classic Auto Mall. mall. Imagine that. I'm a donut guy. I like to buy the donuts. And then, of course, Saturday night, we had the dinner and dancing with live music and the black tie gala affair, which is a lot of fun. Yep. It really is a lot of fun. And you always meet interesting people and so many people that I've met there that have become part of either helping us here or we've just become friends. Judy Stropus is a great example, who's a wonderful person and helps with lots of different things.
People we've only read about, and suddenly you're your friend.
David Hobbs, there he is, right there. Oh yeah, no big deal. Just me and Hobbo. We're just hanging out.
Judy will be with us this weekend as one of our honored judges.
And Kip Wasenko, who we had on the
Cadillac
show,
designer.
Yeah, who is the rebel of his era. He fought for everything. One of the stories he told was the stainless steel grill on the CTS. He wanted it to be stainless steel, and it was going to be $980. And they finally he fought and had to fight for it because he said that plastic will not work. It'll ruin it. And it's funny how those designers get something in their head like that and they don't let it go. And it's always engineers versus designers. You didn't have that, and that's why the cars from the 30s are so beautiful.
Well, they were designed by an individual. Today's the cars are designed by a committee, or even probably by a computer.
With lots of regulations.
With lots of regulations.
Very strict on that.
Those cars in that period were true art.
Yeah, they didn't worry about fuel mileage.
They had no restrictions. They could do anything they wanted.
Anything they wanted. I mean,
now they have to work in such a limited envelope that it's very difficult.
I still say Formula One cars should be just unlimited. If they can go 400 miles an hour, then make them go 400 miles an hour. Then, whatever it is.
They would exceed the capacity of the human drivers.
Right, exactly.
They'd have to become, our RC cars.
Right, which is probably what's next.
That's where it's going.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm interested in that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm interested in it. Hopefully I'll be long gone by that. But, the e-cars are apparently very popular. Can you ever see a electric car category at a Concours d'Elegance, I guess? Well, we have them on the old ones. I'm talking about newer stuff.
Yeah.
As long as I'm around, we're not having it.
Throwing the gauntlet down. I like that. You heard it here first, folks. Because it doesn't fit what we do.
No.
It's like when they asked Jay Leno, what do you think about electric cars? He goes, I'm a car guy. Don't ask me. I'm the wrong guy to ask. Yes, I'm sure there's practicality for electric cars in some form or fashion for people, and that's great. If that works for you, then, my grandmother would have been perfect for that. She went to the grocery store, to the hairdresser, and, to the post office, and that was her loop. And she went 2 miles once a day. That's not what we do. We're celebrating elegance, and I have yet to see an elegant electric car from the modern era. Now, the older electric cars, the early 1900s, we featured those as featured marks before.
We've had those.
Yeah.
Of course.
So.
This is an interesting discussion about where we are, where we're going, and what should be included and what shouldn't be included in a concours. We sort of subscribe to the idea that the golden era was like 1900 to 1975.
Right. And beyond that, it doesn't really fit.
Elegance is in there because design was free and clear. But we also need to appeal to everybody else. So we, like every major show, we have what we call a motorsport park.
Right.
Others call it a cars and coffee or a cars and community.
Right.
Lots of different things. But that expands the cars that are there for the day to much newer, more modern things and younger enthusiasts.
Not only will you see 100 great cars on the lawn, but you'll see 40 motorcycles, and you'll see how many cars in the 200 plus in the motorsports park. This is quite, and serious cars, serious horsepower. And
well, I've had people that came to the Concours and they ended up in the motorsports park and they thought that was the Concours.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's how good it is.
It is how good.
Yeah, that's a testament to Brian and his team that put together that and stay on.
They do a phenomenal job.
Oh my God, they work on that hard.
Yep, they do a great job.
It's very successful financially as well.
Oh, sure.
Because the cars we have for the Concours, there is no entry fee.
Right, they're invited.
They're invited. It's an honor. We invite them. The motorsports park, they pay a nominal fee.
Yeah, and you can bring what you whatever you want. So, and I think that, but it's good for the younger generation to see the newest Ferraris and to see all the cars like that, the Lamborghinis and things like that. That may not, certainly they fit somewhere into what we do, but they're not. A modern, a 575 Maranello Ferrari is not really a Concours car. It's just not. Not what that was in the theme of things. If you want to start another show that's not a Concours, then absolutely feature those. And they do that. Yeah.
Right.
There's lots of shows. Moto Miami is kind of like that, where they celebrate cars that are not just old cars, But I still think that it's hard to see a winner of a Concours d'Elegance not be in the 30s or 20s or 30s.
Exactly.
It just seems like it's the right fit for that. And we can have different classes and we can have all these different things.
That's why we added the racing class, the best of sport.
Right.
Because they don't get the proper attention because of the Concours Elegant takes away from.
Right.
But some of them are as rare and as beautiful as the Concours.
Well, just last year it was the Shelby GT350R,
Right.
and it had war wounds on it, and that they're supposed to.
It was supposed to.
Yeah,
Right.
if that thing was perfect, you'd think, well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like at the Simeone with the Cobra Daytona in as race condition.
Exactly.
And it's the way it better never change. Ugly is beautiful,
The
right?
battle scars.
So for those of you who want a little more information about the upcoming event, you can go to Radnor Concours.org, right? And it'll be September 5th through the 7th. And we're really excited. I think.
Looking forward to it.
And please, weather gods, please look out for us. And that's always our
crossed.
we fingers crossed. And we have a meeting Thursday night, and we're gonna
The last official meeting.
and we're all going to be nervous and excited.
Emails and texts will be flying.
Yes, absolutely will. So when we return, we'll continue with the Classic Automobile Show. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
We'll see you tomorrow night for the meeting.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Whether you want to buy or sell a classic, collectible, or special interest vehicle, you need to visit the Classic Auto Mall website for more information. If you're looking to buy, you can easily search our inventory of more than 1,000 vehicles on the web at classicautomall.com.
We're back with the Classic Auto Mall Show from the Classic Auto Mall studio in Morgantown, Pennsylvania.
Howdy.
It almost sounded like Entourage, the lead into Entourage. That's a great show. Car guys and guys hanging out with their buddies in LA and meeting girls and partying and all that stuff.
Yep. That was Steve's life.
I lived it, man.
I did too. I was out there as well. I did my thing. So
That's right.
Great to have Mike.
But you lived it. Steve's, that was Steve's dream.
Right. Mike and Tobey, great guys.
Yeah.
The Concours that they put on, they put a lot of effort into it. It's a lot of work to put on these things, and they've been doing it for a long time, and hats off to them because it's not always easy, and especially if you get rain or, some kind of something beyond your control. COVID, they had to cancel it in 2020, and a lot of things that got canceled in 2020 never came back.
Yeah.
Especially events. Events probably took it harder than just about.
Almost the Classic Auto Mall, but not quite.
Not quite. We were surprised. As we've said before, we were, locking the doors and laying everybody off. And the next thing you know, people are still calling and wanting, hey, you still got that Mustang for sale? Well, yeah, I still got that Mustang.
No, I can't go out. Might as well work on it.
Might as well work. And trucking firms were still allowed. They were essential business, even though they're hauling classic cars, which is kind of maybe a gray area of that. But trucking is trucking.
You're right.
So they said. And so anyway, September 5th through the 7th. So it's next weekend if you're listening to this on Saturday, August 29th.
That's right.
Or August 30th, excuse me. So if you get a chance, you got to check this place out. It is as cool as anything that they do on the West Coast or in the South or wherever they do Concours Elegance. This is in the top. At least top 5. And that was my opinion before I was on the board or before I even knew these guys. They just put on a great show, and it's wonderful. So if you get a chance, go see it. Go to their website, radnorconcours.org, and it'll give you all the information on how to buy tickets and all that good stuff.
Yep.
So where did we sell cars the past 3 weeks?
Where?
How about
3 weeks?
Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania, Eagle, Idaho, Cardinia, Australia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lexington, South Carolina, Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, Media, Pennsylvania, Sandy Springs, Georgia, Elverson, Pennsylvania, Lemaine, Pennsylvania, Hamburg, Pennsylvania, Antioch, California, Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, Hansville, Washington, Winter Park, Florida, Paoli, Pennsylvania, South Boston, Virginia. That's an odd name, South Boston, Virginia.
That's right.
St. Charles, Illinois, Bardo, Pennsylvania, Houston, Texas, Mesa, Arizona, South Amboy, New Jersey, Supply, North Carolina, Downingtown, Pennsylvania, New York, Culpeper, Virginia, Meadville, Pennsylvania, Newcastle, Pennsylvania, Grafton, Wisconsin, Martin, Tennessee, Waverly, New York, Tiverton, Ontario, Canada, Rutledge, Tennessee, Quakertown, Pennsylvania, Pequea. Is that right? Pequea?
I don't know.
No idea.
Pequea, Pennsylvania?
Never heard of it.
I never heard of it either. Pequea.
That might be the place to buy lottery tickets.
Yeah,
Never heard of it.
yeah. Williamsport, Pennsylvania, Scarborough, Ontario, Canada, Warren, Michigan, Newport, North Carolina, Armington, Illinois, Belfort, South Dakota, Hamilton, Ohio, and Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Oh, moly.
That was quite the list.
Round of applause for...
Yes, that's for the sales team.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the writers of all those
And
cars.
that
The writers sold those descriptions.
Holy cow.
He's really good at that
Told
writing.
people who weren't here could tell exactly what the car was
That's
like.
right.
Exactly. If you're not here, but you'll know it because we'll tell you everything we can about it, good or bad.
I wonder if other people do this. I have a tendency to nod yes whenever I recognize a town that you call out. I mean, Reading, yep.
Yeah, I've heard of that, Reading.
Elverson, yep.
Yep, been there once or
Yeah, my
twice.
friend lived in El Paso. Las Cruces, right across the border in Mexico.
Anyway.
So new arrivals in 3 weeks.
Okay.
1930 International 6-speed special 1-ton truck.
Yeah.
Green and black over black. Family owned since 1967. Great for parades. Not unlike the Army trucks that we have out in front of our building. If you haven't driven by our building lately, you're going to freak out.
It's a wow. Where are you going to find 3 Edsels for absolute auction sale?
No reserve, sell for whatever they bring. Lots of Army trucks, lots of different stuff. There's some Cadillacs, there's a GTO, there's, most of the stuff barn find, no title, doesn't run, no keys, no gas.
Yeah, I just saw a really pretty white BMW coupe. What is
635?
You don't want that car.
No, you don't want
that.
Somebody got their eye on it.
Yeah, you don't want that one. That one's no good.
No.
And I appreciate if everybody's no. It's all one I think all of us like here, but that and the Edsel station wagon.
Yeah.
So, anyway, other new arrivals, the International 6-speed special 1-ton. This is a parade veteran. 3-speed manual. Got a 2-speed rear end, which gives it a little more go down the highway. The 1966 Ford Mustang convertible.
Yeah.
Vintage burgundy over parchment. This is a good driver quality. It's got some GT add-ons that are not factory. It wasn't a factory GT car, but it's got some of that on it. The 289 cubic inch 2-barrel with a C4 automatic. So it's a driver. It's a fun driver, and you don't have to have a 4-barrel, and you don't have to have a manual transmission. As a matter of fact, I'd argue that driving your Mustang around town would be more fun with an automatic than it was for a 4-speed.
For sure.
So with a 4-speed, if you go over about 45, 50 miles an hour, it's going to feel like you need another gear. With an automatic, it doesn't do that. So I think you would get much more enjoyment out of it that way. Nothing wrong with the 4-speed or a 5-speed or whatever you decide to do. But as far as enjoyable, and the 2-barrel is plenty of fuel to the engine. It works just fine.
And it's convertible.
And it's convertible. And it's burgundy over parchment.
Very nice.
Oh,
Parchment is just a fancy name for white.
yeah.
So how about the 1947 Lincoln Continental convertible cabriolet? Now, this is an interesting car. It needs work, but it's priced really right.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, it really is. A lot of car for the money.
A lot of car for the money. Grotto blue over dark blue, 33,000 actual miles, 292 cubic inch V12. 3-speed manual with overdrive, power windows and top. It's a diamond in the rough. It really is. This could be a fun restoration project that I think we'll see done. I think it's one of those ones. I don't always recommend restoring cars. And certain cars, especially if they're not terribly valuable, you're going to just put yourself so upside down when you try to restore them. Something like this is kind of one of those ones that I think you could restore, spend some money on, and when it came time to sell it, you could at least get your money back, if not a little bit more. And not that it's always about getting your money back. Listen, but that's the number one question we get if guys buy projects is, if I restore it, where am I going to be? How much am I going to have in it? And same with these auction cars that we have. What makes sense to restore and what makes sense just to part out? Now, most of these auction cars that we have don't have titles, so that pretty much limits you to what you can and can't do. And if you use them for parts, that's one thing. If you want to get it roadworthy, then you're going to have to go through whatever your state requires you to do. We don't know how to do that. We're not going to tell you how to do it because we don't know how to do it, and we're not going to learn how to do it because it's not what we're going to do for this collection. They want to sell this absolute. They don't have the wherewithal to get titles for all these things in a timely manner, and it has to be settled by the court. And so, their loss is your gain. So
now, if you had a dealer license, you could drive that on a dealer tag if it didn't have a title, correct? If you had a bill of sale,
you
probably
could.
If you had one that was roadworthy and safe, et cetera.
Possibly.
From another state, not certainly here.
Yeah, don't do it here, and don't say that I said to do it here.
No,
that was JR. He lives at 107. No, it's that's an interesting question. I don't really know the answer to that. It might be that is exactly the answer, that you could do that. But again, check with if your goal is to buy it and to restore one of these cars, then check, figure out your options. And maybe talk to a buddy who knows something about it, who's done it in the past. Maybe there's options that are out there that we don't even know about. So I'll just leave it at that, and you figure it out from there on your own. Another new arrival, the 1986 Citroen 2CV6 Club. This is a neat little car, Rouge Bolero over gray and plaid. Very rarely seen model. You just don't see these.
And plus, when you do, aren't they the sort of maroon over black?
Mostly a lot of maroon over black, and this is a red over gray and plaid. It's
interior.
Really a striking little car, and it's a lot of fun to drive. So, other new arrival, the 1987 Land Rover Defender. Those are cool.
Yeah,
they are so
my
cool.
vibe right there.
Yeah, it's kind of a go anywhere, do anything. Oh, I can make it up that hill. Oh, I can make it over that log. Oh, I can make it up that to the Wawa.
It's like one of those. It's like almost like a G-Wagon. They were once military vehicles.
Yeah,
and now they're
very heavy duty.
Yeah, heavy duty.
That's the thing about a G-Wagon is that, and I was telling my wife this the other day. One came in for sale, and she wanted one, but they are more heavy duty industrial than they are luxurious.
Right.
That's what they are. That's what they were built for. And that's what you're looking for. And a lot of people just swear by them. They love them because they feel safe in them. If you're driving down the road, you got a lot of steel and a lot of protection, and if you get in a mucky situation, they'll about climb out of anything. So they'll practically pull themselves out. So if you get a chance and it's something you're interested in, check that one out. It's got a 2.5 liter diesel 4-cylinder. So, but very torquey.
Yep.
Very, very torquey. So how about the 2007?
Yep. I love that car.
2007 Chevrolet Corvette 3LT Pace Car convertible, atomic orange over ebony. 18,000 actual miles, 6-liter, 400 horsepower V8. And if you think 400 horsepower is light, go drive that car and tell me how light it is, because it's not. 400 horsepower is nice in that car. It's got plenty of go. I can tell you that these cars with 600 or 700 horsepower, I would venture that if you could put a computer on every one and tell how far that the gas pedal was pushed down on these cars, unless it's just a guy who's a lunatic, they never get pushed past half throttle because that's plenty. It goes like stink at half throttle and way faster than you can ever go anywhere on a street. Now, if you get it out on the track, different story. But 400 horsepower, plenty. 400
horsepower in a fiberglass car is pretty good.
Yeah, one of 500 built, and this thing is showroom fresh. So
nice.
if you get a chance, check those out and some of our other inventory on our website. I just read that the AACA awarded the Zenith Award, which is their top award that they give out every year. And it was won by a 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge convertible, which is really cool. And it really is I think a kind of a transference or sway from what they normally would pick. Because the runner-up was a 1938 Packard 12 1609 Rolston town car.
How about that?
Which would fit more into what you would think. Right. But as the AACA lives like the rest of us do, is that the new generation is coming. And muscle cars from the 70s are becoming more and more respectable in the hobby, and therefore value is going up in those, as well as collectability. And great to see them awarding this car like that. You would, like I said, you normally see a Ford or a Packard or a V16 Cadillac win these awards, so it's nice to see that. And the car looks spectacular.
Yeah, and they're pretty rare. GTO, 70 GTO convertible.
Yeah, pretty.
Here come the judge. What made that famous?
Laugh-In.
And who said it?
I don't know. Ruth Buzzy.
No, it was Sammy Davis Jr.
Sammy Davis Jr.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. No, it was Flip Wilson, wasn't it?
No, the court's in session now. Here come the judge. Here come the judge.
All right.
So as we've been talking about our auction coming up, and we're still talking about it because it's still now a couple of weeks away when this first airs, September the 19th. So you can get registered if you go online. You can pre-register. And we'll send you an email with the registration form. Or if you want to bid online, you send us an email through our pre-registration, and we'll hook you up with proxy bid. You'll set up an account, and you can be able to bid there, even starting now. People are already bidding on stuff now. One of them has a $1 bid.
Hey, it's a start.
It's a start. Yeah, it's better than a $0 bid. And these are all selling absolute or no reserve. We're going to have, I think the final number is going to be about 79 or 80 cars in the sale. We pulled out a few that were, for whatever reason, we couldn't sell, and but we're adding a couple of more. So we should be pretty locked in here in the next couple of days.
Are you open to other entries?
Yeah, but it needs to be pretty quick.
Yeah.
In order to give it a fair shake marketing wise, that's the thing that you want to make sure of. If you can add a car on the last day, but you really don't want to because it's going to have had no pre-exposure, and maybe it does okay and maybe it doesn't. So I would recommend that if you want to do something, do it sooner rather than later.
Gotcha.
And then if you buy a car from us, it's an 8% buyer's free if you're in person, but no minimum. So if a car sells for $1,000 and you owe us $80, and we don't have a minimum commission like we do when we sell retail, just because it's a little different animal here. If you buy online or via telephone, i.e. not in person, then it's a 10% buyer's fee. And like I said, we should probably have 70 some odd cars. And then, like I said, absolute, no reserve. The highest bidder wins it. And do your due diligence if you're looking at a car. Make sure you know whether it has it. Some of them have titles, some of them don't. Some of them run, some of them don't. Some of them have issues and no keys. Some of them, make sure, read the description, read everything, look at the pictures. Make sure you realize what you're getting may not be perfect by any stretch, and most of them aren't. Most of them have war wounds, and some of them are worse than war wounds, and some of them are scrap metal, and some of them are pretty darn nice. Got some military stuff that's really cool. Most of those don't have, I think one or two have a title. Most of them don't have a title. But we do verify and check that all these cars are not stolen, and they're not owned by something else. Nobody has a claim. There's no lien on them or anything like that. So we check all that before. So, but go to our website, classicautomall.com. You can find all the listings on there, and you can see all the cars and pictures and all that good stuff. So what else we got going on? Anything exciting?
Well, before we get off that subject, I just did a search of how to get a title for a vehicle on a bill of sale. Doesn't mean it's always going to be right on the internet, but there are lots of places you can look to give you ideas of what you might have to follow through and check out.
Yeah, there's ways on the bonds and court and attorney and things like that. It all depends on where you want to go with the car. You know?
And then there's that big red truck with all the big tires on the back of it that I think is probably junk, but man, the amount of steel in that, just for scrap metal.
You might make a buck or two off the steel, you know.
You just got to transport it.
You just got to get it out of here. And you got to get it out of here within about 10 days or so, we'll give you. And then we'd like you to get it the heck out of here because it's, listen, I understand some of these things are difficult to haul. And that's another thing. We'll have haulers on site who can haul these bigger items. But bigger items, make sure you do a little pre-planning. If you're planning on buying something large, one of these large Army vehicles or whatever, the large Mack wrecker, make sure that you've made some kind of arrangements to get it shipped, because the local rollback may not be able to handle it.
Or you might find out, well, it's going to cost me $10,000 to ship it.
Right, exactly. So you got to make sure you know all these things ahead of time. That's why when we sell cars to guys on the West Coast, we always try to tell them, look, you know that if you're shipping this out there, it's going to cost you probably $2,500 or $3,000 to get it there. So factor that into what you can and can't purchase.
That Mack wrecker is pretty cool.
It's pretty darn cool.
We store that and put it in the Allentown Museum where they have all the Mack trucks.
It would be awesome to have
it
there. You know, and I think that a lot of those things are like that. A lot of things might go into collections that will never be driven, and they don't really care if they have a title or not.
Exactly.
I know that my business partners bought many cars without titles over the years, and lots of early teens and 1920s and 1910s stuff that just for whatever reason never had a title, and it's not to go spend any money to get a title really is not cost effective, and so it is what it is.
Yep.
Some of these get lost over the years. People forgot how important it was to hang on to this stuff. So that's that. And next week, we've got another wonderful guest, and I don't remember who it is. I think it's Don Prudhomme. If it's not next week, it's the week after.
All right.
Don the Snake Prudhomme. How cool is that going to be? So.
And I will not be here, Doug.
Darn the luck. And Don was asking about you.
I bet he was.
Yeah, he was. So I don't know if that's next week or the week after, but
we'll
anyway,
find out.
Keep an eye out on that. And
subscribe to the YouTube channel.
And stay tuned.
Subscribe and stay tuned and all that good stuff. We'll catch you next week on the Classic Auto Mall Show. We'll see you then.
The Classic Auto Mall Show with their host, Stuart Howden, executive producer, Steve Seth here, produced and engineered by yours truly, J.R. Russ, video editor, Randy Lammy. Available on classicautomall.com, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Music courtesy of the Pat Travers Band. For tour dates, contact, and stuff, visit pattravers.com. Produced by Car Smarts Media. Copyright all rights reserved.